Finally, we've seen the people of Niger Delta come out and say what that enough is enough of the marginalization that the Nigerian government have continued to impose on them. That the resources coming from the Niger Delta is what the federal government used to feed the north, and it's high time the federal government and Tinubu rise up and do the needful. And they are saying they are not against Biafra; they are ready, to go with Biafra if need be. That enough is enough of this Fulani and the federal government trying to steal from what is their own. So what's your take as regards?
I was surprised to see a statement being reported to have come from Goodluck Ebele Jonathan as at that time. If it's actually true, that he actually made that comment. But it looks as if there's this gathering momentum of the Biafran president, and he's telling them clearly on the face in Niger Delta, considering the fact that everybody was just overwhelmed when Asun Tambata and the chairman from River State was appointed as the leader, and the consciousness and the regaining of what is come to be the higher reality of the entire Igbo community, starting from Ibanke, Eka, in Bayelsa, in several other communities, including Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and all the rest, even Benue, the southern Benue. And I can tell you to an extent too, the Ambazonia forces or residents have already are sitting out to say how they are going to factor into a lot of things is going on beyond what we are saying about how to reshape and rekindle and restore the sovereignty of Biafra. That's what it's all about. So if you see a leader who is also a globally recognized personality, now I think Jonathan is setting a group around the China, Russia, Asia, Middle East on a certain peace, global summit, and to see how they are going to bring about peace. And secondly, there's a recent event that took place in South Africa, where the president of Namibia, who happens to be a woman, led a liberation summit in Johannesburg, where other African leaders in the country were in that summit. Namibia, yes. And if you look at it from closely, the awakeness has distanced themselves from anything from the ideology of Asari Dokubo. Recently, we saw Tombolo, government Tombolo, holding a brief social gathering for all the Igbo celebrities, in Nigeria and beyond, signaling there's a social connection already. So if you look at the development now, and for you to comment fully well that there was a direct gang go by the Fulani politicians from the southwest and the Arab Yorubas and all of them ganging up to betray his second term ambition. That's because he got Jonathan. Jonathan documented all these things. And Jonathan, being to an extent, being a liberal man, being a core Democrat, being to an extent a leader with so many things on his hand and many parts. But Jonathan has suddenly become an icon of celebration, no matter how you look at it. And that is the basis he came to understand the factor of the nationalism and the unity of Nigeria. And he made it very clearly that Nigeria is not yet a country. I can never be a country. We saw how it happened in River State. We saw the kidnapping of a government. A government went to extra mile to kidnap a citizen in another country. A government.
It was against the law.
So many atrocities. Are we talking about the looting? Look at the sanction that is coming from America on daily basis. To the extent the American government taxed Omotosho's judiciary to do fake, corrupt, destroyed by the elements of. See, there's nothing that has been handed over to the Arab Yorubas and the Fulanis that has worked successfully in Nigeria. I can tell you that. The only Christian certified president, Goodluck Jonathan, was removed. Not just because he was not doing good. Not just because it was not, just because it's Nigerians perceived that he is an Igbo man.
But Nigeria thought he wasn't doing good back then.
No, those who got into the falsehood, those who got into the slogan of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Buhari, and my Lai Mohammed, those who brought the factor of Barack Obama into it, those who factor that Mechi into it, they are organs up and destroy a political party called PDP. Today, the hand of God is already on Jonathan. Jonathan is busy moving from one international conference to another, educating people on the issues that has to do with humanity, leadership, and governance. And the world has already marked him to be one of the icons of conflict resolution. And it is on that basis, and he came out very boldly and is telling the world a simple truth. There was nothing like Niger Delta. There was nothing like South. At what point did this thing started creeping into the geopolitical and political and economic space of Nigeria? Who are the mastermind that of what purpose was it carried out? They are feeling themselves on the crude oil from the Biafran land. They supported themselves. They turned the crude oil into clutches, even when they could not walk. They lavishly, extravagantly. But look at the report that was coming from the US Embassy Commission. What did they actually say? They said the Nigerian government are busy buying choice billion-dollar properties all over the world. Why the people are dying in poverty. It's there. It's a report. Go and find out. All these indices, all these things that is happening, the extreme marginalization, the exclusion, the suppression, two is against one. It's ongoing. And the people, everyone is watching. This is how the Hitler uprising started, and the Jews are being killed in Europe and all over the world. But one day, a man stood up and said, no, salvation has to come, whether it is death or life. And salvation came. For Jonathan to say that this is not working means that he has a better option. He has seen an illumination nation in the pipeline. He has seen what the world leaders are talking about. He has seen the alliances and the treaties. And he knows that even if at his own, we try to make Nigeria one. He convened a national conference, Confab 2024. The Fulani and the Arabs from the West balkanized it. Today, Nigeria has fallen into the trap of disintegration. And the Biafra will not be here to rescue. And that's what Jonathan is saying. The deep is getting deeper. Nigeria is digging disintegration hole. Now it has moved from the Fulani oligarchy under Buhari. It has now been transferred to another subject of the Fulani oligarchy, popularly known and called the Arab Yoruba. Then it is not funny until we begin to confront this reality. Then we are all cowards. What are we benefiting? What have you benefited in Nigeria? Like somebody will say, what would Nigeria offer a Yoruba man that the Yoruba man cannot offer himself? What is the reason of nationality and nationalism? Why must we be together? What has Nigeria offered a Yoruba man? What does Nigeria, they cannot offer themselves? That is the rationale. We should question ourselves over this, over time. Or we die like cowards. I can tell you, it is very easy to surrender this place and march everybody to the mosque and allow Akubao, and nothing will happen. I'm telling you, you think it's a joke? I can tell you some states in this part of the southwest has been conquered and to be seen as a Muslim state. You don't understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm talking about? And not only that, if you look at what was happening in some part of the south and southeast, How do these Eastern governors manipulate their subjects to the extent they cannot even provide army and police in their defense? Jonathan was right. After the hell of gang from the Western powers, powered by the Fulani agents in Nigeria, they called him for assassination if he does not relinquish power to continue the jihadist political conquest. No one is going to tell you that in the history books, but we are recovering and discovering that the reality on ground is what defines the moment where we are now. If you go to United Nations Charter conferences, you will see Jonathan there. You go to AU, you see Jonathan there. You go to EU, you see Jonathan there. You go to ECOWAS, you see all over the world. Jonathan is there, trying to see how he can resolve conflicts. Then in his own country, he's being relegated as the first citizen. He's not being recognized. Forget they are calling Jonathan, come back and become president. The guy said it very clearly. With the governor of Bayelsa State, Diri, I am not coming again. Go and solve your problem. That's what he told them. The same note that rejected him said, come back.
But do you think they're regretting after what he did for them? And a lot of people call it betrayal, that he was betrayed.
No, they not, unless you don't understand what the kind of politics the Northerners play, they're not regretting. What they are looking for, they don't want a core Igbo man.
A lot of people said Peter Obi can never become president of Nigeria because the British so much hate the Igbos.
Yes, because that will tell you that the era has come and has gone. The era where the Western, the British government backed oppression of the Igbo people, of the Biafrans, has come and gone. Because there have been changes and innovation. Leaders with different ideas and opinion has continued to emerge around the world. They can't go and market this kind of stupidity before United States of American government. That you are Britain and you want to do this. You can see what is happening between Ukraine. When Russia is trying to mess up, you call him to her that will destroy you. Come to the negotiation table, let us sit down and solve this Ukraine-Russia war. He said, you are Jagaban. Oh yeah, let us see. I'm telling you, it comes to the mentality of the leaders. And the mentality of the leaders nowadays can never be compared with the leaders of 1967 and 1950s. That is just the clear truth. Britain is struggling with the EU. The only people that can order it is where we are going today. And the American government understands this very well. The Trump government understands this very well. The EU are beginning to be careful this time around because a lot of nations in African continent are beginning to pull out from EU and ECOWAS. I hope you don't understand what I'm talking about. Alliances are changing. Loyalty are changing. People are running away from jihadism. And they have to be in continent. They have to be in confederations to defend themselves. And that's why Jonathan is saying that Niger Delta people, as reported, is not against Biafra. Biafra is a product of the Niger Delta. Denial of Biafra is paying homage and loyalty to the Fulanis. And Jonathan is saying no to that. We can't do that anymore. There will be no Igbophobia against Biafra. Imagine people rising against their own identity, their own selves. Have you ever imagined that? Just because you just particularly want to please a certain entity that's not even indigenous in Nigeria. Look at what is happening in the north now. The Hausa youths are mobilizing themselves and asking themselves questions. How did we able to get to this point that we cannot even produce an ordinary councillor in all the 90 states of the northern Nigeria? We don't have a councillor. We don't have somebody in the state house of assembly. We don't have a senator who is an Hausa one. Now we talk less of having a governor who is an Hausa man. And that is what we are seeing gradually happening in the entire South, targeting the Biafran territory. That's why when you see this governor, they say, Soludo, shame on you. But a regeneration will happen politically and otherwise. That's the picture. Go and ask most of them who are in Niger Delta presently now. They are reawakening. The youths are talking. They can't tell me that the cross river man is not a Biafran. They will tell you, say, no, stop it. Enough. Because one man stood up and said no to the lies that they tied in the lace. Who tied it in a lace and make it look beautiful? But inside it, bunches of lies. This is the reality. Open it. There's no reality in it. And that's why at every point in time, we cannot be constrained by the conventional media that is tailored towards anti-human ethics, survival and civility. Duty to make sure that the killing does not go beyond what we are experiencing today. But the conspiracy, of some people that align with Islamic tendencies to capture the entire Biafran land has been able to make sure. That's why, when Buhari was coming in and they said the President Boko Haram, we saw most of them in the eastern part of the country being deployed, and they have been carrying out ceaselessly killings of the Biafrans, of the Igbo people, powered by these Fulani planted governors. The Arachuku massacre we are talking about today, what happened in that area? Nobody is going to come that talk about whoever they are mentioning their names. We don't need that. The Biafrans know what is actually going on. Our political leaders are silent because they take from the Fulanis. They listen to the Fulanis. They are silent. The little resistance you are seeing is coming from individually powerful Igbo groups who said they cannot just fold their hands and allow a certain Fulani military championed and backed by the conquest agenda of the Nigerian government that saw Mazin Nnamdi Kanu being taken to DSS custody, that saw someone like Simon Ekpa, Finland compromising for the first time in the history of Finnish government just because of crude oil. We need to face the reality on ground. And what is the reality? In 1967, before the Nigerian Civil War, on how the most powerful man, the first Nigerian military head of state, Johnson Akuyi Umunakwe, was murdered. The British murdered him. The British agents in Nigeria, the Fulanis, murdered him. Now, the killing has continued. And we seek for sovereignty, not because the world is silent over the reality of Christians being murdered in Nigeria, but because of injustice, oppression against the will of destiny. The Igbos have chosen a path for themselves and have decided to give themselves an identity, Biafra. The mention of Biafra sent a certain mysterious signal to the enemies. But we must take it very clearly from this point in time that, you know, at this point in time, over 20,000, you know, Biafran ESN tactical forces has been deployed across the north and the southern part of Biafra currently now. We engage them. They drive a military convoy as if they are providing security, as if they are Nigerian military. All of a sudden, they divert to a mysterious forest and carry out a heinous and criminal act. Burning churches, invading communities, killing the youth of those states. The governors are also getting intelligence report about all this, and nobody is doing anything. And I expected Soludo to have said something about the killing of the fish magnate, a young man who defined a moment for himself. Nigeria happened to him. May Nigeria happen to those Nigerians out there, including Opus Odema, Chukuma Soludo, Ojuzo Carlo, and all of them, including that guy they called Wei Furufurefu. Unfortunately, people are unfortunate. And up till now, nobody has come out to address over 85 million of Igbos around the world on the issue of mysterious killing. It's happening in the northern part of the country. It's happening in the middle belt. Why are we saying this kind of a thing? And you think it's ordinary? Something really is ongoing.
Okay, but we've seen Asari Dokubo in tempers, you know, he has come out to admit that his boys are the one fighting the BLA, you know, Kigwe to be particular. And do you not think that time the government, or why do you think that why do you think the government are not, you know, trying to clamp down Asari? Because it's not, personally to me, I don't think it's legal, you know, Asari Dokubo having his own military, and these are the people that the Southeast politicians used to commit, you know, heinous crime there in the Southeast. Is it not our time that the federal government and even the Southeast government, you know, clamp on Asari Dokubo?
I want to clamp down on Asari Dokubo. The man Asari Dokubo is claiming that he's working with him is still the governor of a particular state in the eastern part of the country. You know, and this is a guy who came out openly and said he's going to work with the North. You know, and he became very stupid under Buhari government. They become very, you know, it's threatening everybody because you know that these are the people. A time will come, you know, Agabajisi Yaka, will be totally dismantled by divinity, by God of Biafra, by God of the Igbos, by God that took the Igbos to over 117 countries around the world. You will not get time for Asari Dokubo. And I tell you, Nigeria will not pray to see the extreme side of the Igbo. Let us not pray, because it will not be America come and help me, Britain come and help me, Russia come and help me, Netherlands come and help me. It's not going to be like that. All those ties has been balkanized. All those ties has been destroyed, dismantled by the presence of the Igbos. There's nowhere you go today, there's no government you talk about that does not know Igbo. If you go to China, the same thing. If you go to anywhere, the same thing. If you go anywhere you go to, it's the same thing. But because they planted these people, you can see how people are dying. Women in the farm, in their farms, they are being killed. People can no longer go to farm. And the funniest thing is that these governors, they keep quiet. These political leaders, they keep quiet and allow these things to happen because they feel that they made them. But let me tell you very clearly, immediately after the Nigerian Biafran war, the Igbos were picking nylon on the streets. The Igbo people were picking nylon on the streets. But today, that cannot happen again.
But do you think that if Uzodimma if Nnamdi Kanu and Ekpa were to still be given that chance, that you know, the freedom of what they were doing before, do you think that, how do you think the progress and the security?
What you are seeing currently now, as they are facing trial both home and abroad, the Fulanis in conjunction with the Fulani governors of the eastern part of the country, led by Hope Uzodimma and Wilfred and Omahi and Ojuzo Carlo, they are busy. Itamba, they are busy planting all these conquest camps in all these forests. And it is from this forest that they kill these people, that they launch attack. As simple as that. They have turned our forest now to Fulani Ruga. All of them are there. If you leave night, people can no longer sleep. This is what these governors have become recently. But they did not know that there is an era in every century, in every generation. Their era will come. There is going to be a revolution that will challenge the political status in Biafran land currently now. And that time is coming. And when it comes, we will be able to gather all these things they call the chaff and separate them from the wheat. And be able to call a spade a spade. Let them continue. My advice, I don't want to talk about the gentle. I don't want to talk about whoever they are. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, I'm telling you that there's a Biafran spirit that do not stop at the roadblock, that has no boundary, that's unlimited, that sees before it happens, that documents and take action when necessary. That is how it is. The world is taking note. Nigeria continue to disintegrate on daily basis without Nigerian leaders and politicians knowing about it, that they are unknowingly working towards the disintegration of Nigeria. It's as simple as that. In the presence of political marginalization, in the presence, of Fulani conquest, how would you be able